Hello guys, Dan Gonzalez here with my first video tutorial on how to create quick vector artwork using Adobe Illustrator and the Live Trace tool. Now what you need to do to start this off is have a black and white drawing, and what I mean by that is have a black ink drawing on top of a white piece of paper. Now this is because Adobe Illustrator works best with black and white. So once you have that, you want to scan it in or just take a picture of it and email it to yourself, get it onto your computer, and once you have that, you want to open that up in Photoshop or just drag it into there. Photoshop is not necessary for this, but it really does save time in editing or fixing things up in Illustrator if you have a clean image. So go to Image, Adjustments, Levels, or you could do Control or Command L for the keyboard shortcut. And the left slider on here is for shadows. You want to bring that in towards that first bump. You want to bring that right slider in towards that first bump. That's highlights. And the mid-tones, you want to bring this in towards the middle flat area. And then you want to hit OK. Click File, Save for Web Devices. Click Yes. You want to resize this image. I usually do 1500 on the long edge of the image. This is just to keep it at a manageable file size. Click Save. Rename that. Go into Adobe Illustrator now. You want to click File, New. These settings are up to you. You want to know what you're going to output to. For me, I'm going to output to the Instagram format, so I want a square dimension, so I have 800 pixels by 800 pixels, RGB color mode, and high raster effects. Now I go click OK. You want to create 3 more layers, and then you want to go to File, Save As, and then you want to change the Save As type to Illustrator template. Now I already have one, so I'm going to rename that or resave that over. Now that is very important because you want to be able to quickly go to a template that already has your settings and you don't have to redo those document setup again, because that takes time, and that's what makes this a quick process. So you open up a template and here you go. Now you go to the fourth layer that's on the very top, go to File, Place, and search that image. You want to place that. Then you go to Live Trace, and then the down arrow, go to Tracing Options. I'm going to quickly go through these. Threshold is just going to distinguish what's going to be white and black. You could go up. It's going to include more or less, depending on if you go up or down. Now, the blur is going to blur the image before the trace happens, so it's going to make a smoother edge around. And then your path fitting creates looser or tighter fittings of the tracing towards the original image. Minimum area is the minimum area is the smallest. The minimum area is the smallest area of the original image that's going to show up in the actual tracing, and the corner angle is the sharpness of the angle that are considered corners in the image. And then you want to click Preview, and then I'm going to adjust this to 120, and you could see on the left how it changes. The blur I'm going to change to 2 pixels, and then I'm going to change the path fitting to 3 pixels. And then I'm going to keep the minimum area and corner angle the same. And sometimes this ignore white is deselected. I think by default is deselected, but you really want this selected. This is very important. You want to make sure that ignore white is selected, and before hitting trace, you make sure to save a preset. Make sure to save a preset. This is what is going to make this process even quicker. If you have a Illustrator template, you open that up, you place an image, and you hit a preset. That's how quick this is. So I'm going to cancel to show you how quick the preset is. You're going to save that as a new preset, and then once you have that preset saved, you're just going to go down to your preset should be right here. I have a few right here. I'm going to click my daily lettering preset, and that will be how quick it goes. It just goes quickly to your settings. You don't have to do anything, and then once you have that, you select your trace and then hit expand. This is going to allow you to edit any little anchor point you want or change the curves. And I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to show an example of that. Select the direct selection tool. I'm going to select this anchor point that's making a bump. I'm just going to delete that. And you could do that to the whole image. I'm not going to do that right now. Select the whole object. You want to grab the corner, hold Shift, Alt, or Option, and resize that proportionally down to a reasonable size. And then you want to go to your line menu, and if you don't see that, you want to go to Window and then select the line, and then you want to select Horizontal Align Center and then Vertical Align Center. It's going to make it centered straight in the middle. You want to select that object, go to Edit, Copy, go to Layer 3, go to Edit, Paste in Place, and you want to use your arrow keys to nudge it in a certain direction, just a little bit, and then you want to change the color of that. And if you look closely, it's going to create a sort of thickness to your piece, and this is what you want. You want it to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. At least this is what I do with my lettering. It makes it a little bit more interesting. Now you want to lock that layer and then select that first layer again, and I'm going to just change this color, and then you want to lock that, go to the first layer, select the rectangle tool, and then create a background, and I'm going to change the color to a dark gray. I'm going to select that first layer once more, and then just nudge that up a little bit just to create a little bit more of that thickness. And then lock that layer, and then unlock that second layer. Now this next part is just going to be showing you how to add textures to your work. Now just search for vector textures, and you just get those for free, or sometimes there's paid versions that are a lot better. I will leave a link in the description to the vector textures that I use. If you want to grab those are $4. So you want to find those textures and open those up. Now, the reason why these are $4 is because there's 20 of these, and there's so many different ones, and I use these all the time, and it's hard to find good textures, let alone a lot of good textures. So once you get your textures open, then you just select one, go to Edit, Copy, and then go to your piece, and then go to that second layer and go to Edit, Paste. You want to adjust this. Hold Alt and drag if you want to make a copy of that. And then you want to right click. If you want to, you could reflect it to make it look a little bit different. Then you want to select both of those, go to transparency, and I would say bring that down to about 50. Change the color as well. And then you want to lock that layer, go to the top layer once more, paste that texture right on top of that top layer, and then you want to position it over your object. Then you want to go to Window Pathfinder if you don't have it up, and if you see it, then go to the Pathfinder, and you want to pay attention to the shape modes right there. Now grab that direct selection tool, then hit shift and select the top object, and make sure both the texture and the top object are selected, and then you want to hit the one that says minus front. Now this is going to create a hole punch effect in the top layer, and as you can see, the texture is now part of the top object, and it makes the second layer, whatever's below it, shine through. Now the right side isn't really texturized, so I want to paste another instance of that and then drag that over here and do the same thing. Select both and then hit minus front, making sure that that texture is on top. And that is it. You could select File, Save As, change that to an Illustrator file, and you want to say that as, rename that. Hit OK. And if you're going to be saving this, if you're going to be presenting this on the web, you want to do a file, save for web and devices. Save that. You could adjust the settings, save that, and rename that as well. And that is how you create quick vector artwork. And if you have any more questions, please be sure to read my blog post at dangonzalez.com/quick. The link will be in the description. There I explain it in a little bit more detail and a little bit more thoroughly the process behind this. And if you still happen to have questions, be sure to leave a comment or contact me on my website at dangonzalez.com in the contact section. And thank you for watching.